You're muted, Jay.
Okay. Well, hopefully you can see my slide and now you can hear me. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I met the people in my group. It was nice to chat with them. My name's Jay Rains. I live in Provo, Utah now. I've lived in Utah for about almost 10 years now. From Chicago is where I was before. And I spent the most of my career um, selling and really selling startups from zero customers to revenue. And so what I'm going to talk about today is just stuff I've learned along the way that I think is really helpful for startups, because that's what I keep getting stuck in is startups. And working with founders, myself and other founders that are like the technology or the people behind the technology that we're selling. I want to start with like the idea is really, and this isn't meant to this my partner in one of my businesses would disagree with this. The idea is not the hard part. So he would disagree with that. He thought that was the hardest part, was coming up with the idea. I would say that also the hardest idea is, how to find the first customers, how to get someone to buy your idea. And in that gap is where I think startups die. And they can die for lots of reasons. But really to get the very first customer when you have a startup or a new idea, I think is a really important, obviously, thing to figure out how to do right. And so what I'm going to show you today, I didn't invent this. This is just old standard and some new standard, sales methodology. I mean, you'll probably think this is maybe part of Medic, part of Sandler, Chandler, Spin, any of those things, but really I break it down to be really, really simple so anyone can understand it. And it's helped me probably for the last 12 years really doing go-to-market stuff. And even if it's not at a startup, sometimes this is a really good refresher if you get stuck somewhere. Okay, so let me see here. Why? Okay, sorry. So this is this is really it. So there's three why buys of why customers or your person why would they would do anything. So the first one is why would they buy anything? And why would they buy it from us? And why would they buy it now? And so a lot of the people I've worked with, founders I've worked with, they really over prepare the middle one, like why us? We're the greatest. Our product is so great. There's no other product like us. But that alone is not enough. You have to answer the why buy anything, why buy it from us, and why buy it now. And so as you guys are watching this, you're probably thinking, wow, this is really dumb. Um, why why do I need to know this? Well, sometimes we just need to take a step back and think, if I can't answer these three questions, it doesn't matter if I'm a startup or if I'm selling into Fortune 100 companies. If I'm talking to the potential buyer and I can't answer these three questions, they're not going to probably buy anything. Not probably, they won't buy anything. And I think that's the key. And you guys can ask questions along the way if you have any questions. So you have to answer all three of these. And so why anything? These are obvious. So it's pain, they need it. Um, if you don't know, it's a blank question. If you don't know, you need to figure out why they would buy anything. Why us? We should know that if we're the founder and we're the one that built this, you should know why they would buy from us. If you don't, that's a really bad positioning problem. And why now is deals stall here all the time. Maybe they don't have money. Maybe um, there's other reasons why they can't do it. There's a regulation or something that's making it so they can't buy it now. But we have to answer all three of these questions. And as founders and startups, we need to answer these as fast as we can, because this is the catalyst of every other thing you do in sales. So all the other things you want to do in sales, you have to be able to do this first. So this is just personally me. I found that if I'm trying to qualify a buyer and I'm in a meeting live, it's really not it's really it's not really about convincing him or her. It's about finding out whether the three why buys are true for this person right now. And I had a sales leader tell me maybe 15 years ago, if you can't answer these three questions in the very first meeting, you should pack up your bag and leave as quickly and as nicely as you can, because you will not be able to get anything done. Um, and that's silly, but it's kind of true. Leave politely. And actually qualifying them out as a buying customer is also a win. It's not a failure. It's good to get it off the books, and you can go on to one that you can help. And it's not a bad thing if you're qualifying people out. It's actually helping you move the process along. So here's some examples of how this works in real life examples, and I'll also show you one where it doesn't work. So these are companies of mine, and both of these were somewhat pretty complicated. So Compliance 11 was a company. The whole premise of it was it did automatic compliance for the financial services, and the customers were chief compliance officers, and we were replacing manual checks, lots of stuff that people didn't buy, that no one buys, like, you know, it's hard. It was hard to sell a lot of consulting. That's what people were buying before. It was consulting to solve these problems. And we came up with an automated system that did all this. And there's a lot of technical reasons why we were great. And we changed the market completely. And there was a good exit with this one. But explaining the product was really hard. And trying to figure out the three why buys was hard. And so the first thing we did is we came up with a really good one sentence thing that explained the product in detail. And we just said manage risk, not paper. And that kind of was the number one, why buy anything? Because we would manage risk, not paper, and it worked. And so we built a product, and it had a lot of other factors in the market that made it, people had to buy it. There was regulation in the industry, Dodd-Frank. It was a legal reason why people had to do this, but we still had to get them to answer those three questions. The second one was this one I'm still working on, Beyond Labs. It's virtual labs. It's virtual labs that replace real labs in chemistry, physics, and biology. And in some of our chemistry labs, we have 10 to the 16th permutations. And that's really hard to explain to somebody. So there's so many things it does. It's very complicated, very confusing. So we came up with the virtual labs real science. So we're very easily able to identify customers, whether they're going to buy this product or they're not. And it doesn't take a week. We can find out in 5 minutes because we kind of go through their buying needs. Why would they buy this? Why would they buy it now? And why would they buy anything? And we can answer those based on just how we put this product together very quickly. And we move on to the next if they're not. And we move on to a lot of people on the next slide because they don't need it. They might not want to replace the real lab. They might think our product's great. They might think it's really good, but they're not going to do it. And they might not do it ever. So you just have to figure out all the different reasons why people would or would not answer those questions, and you can move on. So here's an example of one that did not work. Or it did work, but here's where the three why buys kind of fail at certain reasons. So Maru Interactive was another company I founded when I moved to Utah. That's why I came here. And we built custom software for the live event space, and it was a really fun company. And so the three why buys were really easy. Why buy anything? Well, we were helping them in live events. Why buy it now? There was an event. And why buy anything? Because, they had to, these were custom marketing activations, and our customers were like Salesforce, Intel. And if you've ever been to Salesforce, you saw our software because we were this technology that was doing a lot of the live presentations. But if this was killed by COVID, so COVID, when the why buy anything goes away by 100%, there is no company. So, and that company is now defunct because it went out and we all moved on to do other things. And it was mostly a consulting company, but when one of the three why buys went away that I used, there's nothing left to sell. And so we had to shut that down. So for us, as all startup people doing new ventures and trying to figure out why anybody would buy the software product that I'm building right now, I think the homework for all of us is to figure out what you're working on and figure out what those three things are. And if you don't know what those are, really dig down deep and try to figure out what those are. And I know this is really oversimplified, and you guys, some of you might be laughing at me because why is Jay saying this? Well, I mean, for the last 15 years, I think this is so important that you get this part right because everything else you do on the back end of this is what makes a company go or not go. Um, so write those down right now. Just write them down. See if you know what they are. And then I'm happy to help. I'm happy to, this is how my brain works. Um, I'm happy to talk to you guys. I could spend a half hour with any of you guys if you want to talk about your three why buys, because I'd like to talk about my three why buys with you. Um, and I know it's a dumb name, and maybe you guys could tell me a better word for the three why buys because it's really silly to talk about that. But I do think it is the most important thing you can do in a startup if you're trying to get past zero customers. And I believe I think it goes from zero revenue to about $3 million in revenue. This is really, really important. When you start getting into 3 million in annual recurring revenue, you're going to have like Medic, other challenger programs spin. You're going to have a really complicated sales ops. I mean, we all do that too. And that's what I cut my teeth in all that area too. But this is the part that most people forget is the very beginning, because if you don't do the first thing, you can't get to the second thing. And so, yeah, that's what I wanted to share today. Hopefully that was quick enough. Hopefully you got something out of it, and I'm happy to answer any questions and share any insights that I have, which I'm sure you guys have just as many as me. And that's maybe think of this as a prompt for a discussion, and that silly three why buys is this thing that we need to figure out before we do anything.
Jay, that was great. I might want to just put a couple people on the spot out of the gate. Maybe just a couple. Devin, are you game for your three whys?
Yeah, man, I was actually just going back to my investor diligence room and wondering if I should have a three Y buys one pager um, in my diligence room because I think I have a lot of investors that are interested but not really intimately familiar with what a customer would say if I ask those questions. And so helping them see that would be really helpful. Um, my three Y buys for loci. Um, Jay, you should pull the screen back up so I get them in the right order. But why buy
Okay.
anything? Because you are currently running between 15 and 20% overstaffing on your most expensive employee. Why buy us? Because we sit in between, we harmonize data from the two largest vendors, Epic and Qgenda, in the healthcare staffing space. And why buy now? Because your surgical reimbursements are probably going to go down another 2 to 2.5% next year. Whew. It's a lot of pressure, Spencer. No more of
You
that.
did it, man.
No
Hey,
more of
Yeah.
that. Whew.
hey.
Whew.
Sorry, I could tell you why. I could tell you a lot more detail, but I wanted other people to tell me their why buys. So I think it's fun to talk about. So let me just tell you, like for compliance, for not for the Beyond Labs, why buy anything is really hard because in the chemistry at a university in chemistry, they have to take chemistry, they have to do a lab, and so we're competing with a real lab. So if they don't have a lab, they might use ours, and they might use ours to augment that. And why by us is hard too because we compete with other people. And so we have to say we're open-ended labs. And why now? Well, they have to teach chemistry. So if they don't have a solution, we are the solution. But this is how you kind of walk through it. You can change these over time as you start to learn how your product expands. These might change, and they might change for different buyers. But I do think it is good to have that as part of your deal deck and have it's kind of a good marketing thing and not say these. Maybe we don't say why buy anything, why buy us, and why buy now, but you need to answer all those questions in all of your marketing material so it's obvious to them. This is kind of for us as salespeople, like we don't want to say these words to the customer, but you
Well,
could.
I don't know if we necessarily say those things, but if I'm giving a one pager, like a leave behind to a customer at the end of a sales pitch, like this would be a perfect header for,
Yeah, I think it would.
why buy anything, why our product is differentiated and why there's
Exactly.
a compelling event. I mean, there's real, I think, urgency in that process. So yeah, maybe not label it that way, but a customer should be able to walk away with clarity as to those three things.
Well, I keep labeling it that way because I can't think of any better words. And so, but it's, it's generic, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it could fit into a one pager very easily and tweaks a bit.
Christian, you came off mute.
Yeah, uh, thanks, Jay. I was going to ask just a more. We're going through kind of the NSF iCore kind of modality right now. So really reaching out to customers, kind of value chain members of that, trying to identify what their problems are, what their pain points, what the value proposition truly is. I'd love to get your thoughts on, it's a lot of it sounds like you were talking about internally kind of creating the why anything, why us, answering these questions internally. How do you actually validate those and reach out to your customers to validate if these are the correct assumptions we're making on what their needs are?
So that's a really good point. So at the very beginning, we don't have any customers, so we have to figure
Mhm.
it out ourselves, and we have to
Yeah.
uh, try to answer these questions. But as we got customers in my other companies, we started reaching out to clients, and we started, surveying everybody to figure out what were the reasons, what were their pain points, and that's where it gets more fun and more complicated when you start to get a real sales, program when you have people doing customer success and you have support people that are talking to your customers. You can find out really why they would buy anything, why they buy us, and why they buy it now.
Yeah.
But in this presentation, I'm focusing on really like before you even know that stuff. But you have to do this even after you get customers to validate
Yep.
that you're right and
Yep.
you're correct. You do that by talking to customers, and you do that by
Mhm.
surveying them and having good relationships with them. And, I mean, most of these companies that have grown, we've had robust user groups with our customers, get the customers excited about the product, get them excited about the other customers, get them together at least annually in one location, sharing ideas, letting them have a say in maybe roadmap information, at least feeling like they have a say in roadmap
Mhm.
stuff. And then you can get all kinds of good information from your customers. And again, where customers are, you know, we're trying to just help them. We're not trying to sell them something they don't need. We're trying to build
Yeah.
a product that they want. So it's just a real fun customer success story when you start doing this. Did I
Yeah,
help?
it's magic when you find that product market fit. I love it. Thanks.
Mike Rich had a question in here. Would you expose well, I think we just hit on this, but would you expose these questions directly in a customer presentation? If so, how?
Yeah, I think we should for sure would to customers after you have them, so.
Yeah.
And the customers love to help. I mean, from my experience, when I talk to customers about this type of thing and supporting them and making sure they're happy and they're getting what they need, they love to answer these questions. They want us to succeed as well. And if they're helping us and it's helping other people, that validates their choice of selecting our product. So it kind of helps everyone all around.
Who else will be a brave soul? I won't put anyone on the spot, but I'd love to hear some more three whys and have Jay give some feedback.
Barry's hands up. Let's do it, Barry.
Good, Barry.
Well, what I was seeing, Jay, is that this is a brilliant overshadowing philosophy. That it's part of a sales conversation, but it's also part of any kind of an internal systems or marketing. They're like three filters to look through to see is what we're doing hitting the mark? Is it doing the thing that we hoped it would do? And what a great way to do it. I'm really huge on debriefing. If you came up with something and you set it into motion and you didn't debrief, you left out the most valuable part of the equation. If it worked, can we document it? If it needs improvement, what would that be? And if it sucked, okay, let's not do that again. These three are, to me, part of that process of helping business leaders understand what are we doing and is it working?
That's really smart because it's true. So, we're talking right now about sales and I'm doing this for like, the very first customer, but I deal with this every day. Our guys are trying to build, they have developers sometimes have these really great ideas to build these really cool things that nobody wants, as you know. And so why it's a great question. Why would you build that? Would anyone want it? And so yes, sometimes that's a hard conversation to have, especially if some of the in my case, some of my partners, the founders, they want to build stuff that nobody wants. And we have to convince them not to um, build it. But yes, I think this works across the whole company. You can ask these questions all the time, internally, externally to your
Yeah, they
customers.
might shift slightly, but still conceptually, it's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, so it's and that's where go to market and strategy gets really fun, because in my world, we think, oh, hey, here's this new virtual lab we can build. It's really cool. It does all this stuff, and then we're like, well, okay, how many schools use it? How many students would actually, only like 2,000 people in the whole country would use it? Well, we're not going to build that.
Right.
So, I mean,
So Jay, I'm curious on this slide that you have up, the why now, giveth and taketh. So for some startups and founders, we're building for the future. Um, how do we address the why now where it's still maybe on the horizon?
well, that's where it's a moving target. So you have to kind of visualize what you think the why now, what it is. You might not know, so you have to talk to people. And this is when, if you don't have a customer yet, I've been in startups where I'm the GTM person and we didn't even have a product yet. So you're probably the least valuable person in the whole company, but you can help with the positioning and the marketing that you think is going to work. And you, just like was brought up before, you once you have a chance, you test it, and if it doesn't work, you try something new. The beauty of this is you can change it on the fly. So if the why now isn't working, you have to figure out another why now. If you can never figure out a why now, then maybe that's a good sign that it's time to move on. So, but I'm pretty sure you can always figure out the why now, um, if you really work at it hard enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good point, because it's harder to do when you don't have a product yet.
All right. Got time for another brave soul.
I'll go.
Go, Rick.
Okay. So first of all, I like these YBYs. It's really got me thinking, and I think I have to refine my messaging. So on the why buy anything, I think we all know currently how to tell the FICO score is above 650. That's pretty easy to tell, but we have no idea if someone can actually make a payment. They can make a loan payment, payment on their RV, payment on their rent. We don't know that, and we can't tell that from a FICO. So my company, Calite, provides evidence for strength in cash flow, and I can see if someone has the cash and the ability to pay, regardless of what their FICO score is. That opens up doors for up to 100 million people who are subprime and can't get that apartment. They can't get that loan, that small business loan. And credit unions today, for example, are burning through millions, 5, 7, 8, 10, $12 million a year on their loan vintages because they said yes to people that they should never have said yes to. Their delinquencies are at 1.5%, 2%. And if I bring that down, even just by 1/4% with greater evidence of payment, they can save money and essentially have uh, between 500 and 1,000% ROI.
Hmm. Jay, what's your take on these whys?
I mean, I think it's fluid, and it's more complicated, but I think, yes, I think those are wise. I mean, if I probably have to dig into that deeper. If you want to chat, I'm happy to brainstorm with you. It sounds fun. But yeah, I think those sound good to me.
Rick, what are those the one are those so I'm always curious about pivots and iterations. Where did you when you first started, were those the whys, do you think, or has it have you pivoted?
Oh, I've pivoted. Yeah, you pivot. Every time you hit a wall, you pivot, right?
Mhm.
I came to that because that's where the money is being spent today. Um, Two, it's relevant. Yeah, I started. There were probably a couple of iterations ago. It was a completely different value I was trying to bring to the market. Um, this is an area that people are making loans, people are renting apartments, people are looking at credit scores today and trying to make a decision about complete strangers. And I have the ability to turn a 3-day document gathering into a 3-second series of evidence, rich evidence for
That's,
can someone pay?
I mean, that's a really strong one. So, I mean, that should be, I mean, that's how I would lead with the marketing. That you have to just get to figure out a one sentence thing about why that's, I mean, that's important.
Yeah, Rick, I agree. I think the second iteration where you mentioned like the time horizon, X time to 3 seconds, that that I think made the why buy anything more compelling. Today you're spending X amount of time and your competitors are only spending 3 seconds. Like that's a problem that you need to solve. And changing that from narrative to numbers made it like totally settle into my uninformed brain right there in that moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, that's kind of what when you said that too, for me, that because I don't understand your business, but when you did the time thing, that's a big deal. So I like it.
And anytime we can help people reduce risk and enhance favorable probability, that's pretty awesome marketing.
Yeah.
Jay, can you go back to that slide? I think it was maybe the last slide, what we can do today. What's our homework slide? There we go. Um, that one, our homework. There we go. So this is, I think, a good place to end. And I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna post it on LinkedIn today and see if some of our customers agree. We have kind of a multi-facing business in Summit Venture Studio. So we're helping tech transfer offices get more promising technologies to market faster. We also are a bit of a marketplace for founders and potential operators to hit the ground running with a technology or a platform that's already had up to a couple $1 million of funding. So I think Christian kind of gets what we're doing, right? You're startup curious, and why not jump into an opportunity that's already, well on its way? And then for investors, they're another customer of ours. We're an asset class that is kind of not really fully appreciated when we think of alternatives or private equity because of the economics in our deals. So I'll do a better job of wordsmithing that, but I'm gonna put that out there and get beat up on it later today, I think.
Gotta lock in those three whys.
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
the funny part is when you share that, when you say the three why buys, people will make fun of us. It's whatever
Yeah,
those say.
it's okay.
Yeah,
I live in a
That's
fine.
house where I
So,
get made fun of
okay.
for everything all day, so bring it on.
It
And a
is very,
workplace, Spencer. It's kind of you get it from both angles. It's tough.
well, what's that old saying? A little bit of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
okay to lighten it up.
yeah. Well, this is typically where we end, about a quarter to. As I said in the beginning, we've got space in the calendar. If you think, based on what you heard today and kind of the audience, and maybe you've been here before, if you've got something you think you can share with this group, let Hannah or me or Taylor know through an email or a LinkedIn message, and we'll see if we can come up with a topic that resonates with this type of audience, and we'll get you slotted in for a future Tuesday. Okay. That's it, folks. Have a great rest of your day. Go fight win.
Go fight with.
Ask
Cool.
me about my why buys.
Right. Thanks, Hannah.